So it appears that Tim Pool had a complete major meltdown after Sam Seder showed up on the Ethan Klein Steven Crowder debate. He completely went off and absolutely just fired away at Sam Seder. He had his own meltdown, which is really surprising. At least you would think that he would feel so strongly about this situation. But the accusations he's going to make and attacks that he's going to make towards Sam Seder essentially are of these. He's a drama grifter. He wants to make money. He's a coward. He's a liar. It's interesting. He's trying to redirect, I think, some of the attacks that are commonly being used against Steven Crowder towards Sam Seder, which is going to be very interesting. It includes a lot of irony because we all know that Tim Pool's a massive grifter. He doesn't give a fuck about anything but money. That's all he cares about. He pretended to be a liberal or whatever. He's not a liberal. He's a conservative. Or maybe he's not a conservative. Maybe he's just doing whatever he does that makes money. Maybe that's what it is. That's, probably what it is. Similar to Dave Rubin, of course. So it's going to be with a pretty heavy hint of irony. But man, he is really he's going to lose it on Sam Seder here, and then he's going to ban him from his show.
He said that he couldn't do it because he hosts his own show. He did mention COVID, to be fair. But then he turns it into this tweet where he's coming after me, implying we were unsafe when we followed every COVID guideline. We have hand sanitizer everywhere, and we were allowed to do the show as per normal guidelines. The room is extremely well ventilated. You can probably hear the fans. But Sam thought it would be good to lie, to make things up, because he never wanted to come here in the first place. And even after he knew it was in studio and the 13th is open and we will pay for everything and he agreed to do it, it was all just a big con. Sam Seder is a lying coward. And that's why people like Steven Crowder should not debate him. And that's why Steven was right for cutting him off and saying no. And Ethan Klein is damaging everything, making it all worse, because his interest is personal gain for his pop culture crap. He doesn't know what he's talking about, so he would rather watch people suffer if it gives him a few extra bucks. That's Ethan Klein. You know what? It's fine, Ethan. Do your pop culture comedy stuff. It's funny stuff. I got no issue with that. But don't come into this space where people are trying to have very serious conversations about how people live and how people might die if we don't solve certain problems, and then set it on fire and kick the can down the road or just make everything worse. You bring in a con man like Sam Seder, whose whole business is just burning things down for personal gain, and I'm going to get pissed off about it. Sam Seder is just a political drama grifter. I don't think he's actually a genuine personality. I think he's a liar and a manipulator, and I do think he's a coward whose goal is to profit off of exploiting drama in the political space. He's not someone who's addressing high-level issues. He's not someone who's espousing thought-provoking conversations. He is somebody who just makes low-tier drama click content where he complains about Dave Rubin and demands people debate him. It's the lowest tier of the lowest tier. And I take personal offense to the things Sam Seder has said and done. What we have here is a perfect example of those who would watch the system burn if only they could get a small piece of the pie. Sam Seder is the least deserving of attention because he is a liar and a coward who seeks to enrich himself, but he's lacking the talent to actually do it. He makes so much of the why won't Dave Rubin debate me? Why won't Joe Rogan debate me? Why won't Steven Crowder debate me? Blah, 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 blah. All he cares about is himself. I think what's happening with Sam is that he knows he's not a top-level personality. He's plateaued. This is why Sam Seder should not be brought into these conversations and why he does the left harm. Sam Seder manipulated me to try and get internet points because he is a political drama grifter, and that's his game. Sam Seder is a lying coward, but I think anybody who's engaged in rational political conversation should ignore this man. Sam Seder's blacklisted by a lot of podcast networks. I'm not exaggerating. This is not a joke. Yes, there are many large podcasts that have outright said they will never work with him, and has nothing to do with being afraid to debate him. Sam Seder's off the list. This guy is a manipulative, lying con man. That's why Crowder doesn't want to have anything to do with him. That's why all the people Crowder mentioned don't want to have anything to do with him. And that's why Sam Seder makes all these videos and he focuses on drama. I mean, the man's obsession with Dave Rubin is laughable. It's absolutely laughable.
So that was absolutely hilarious. I mean, he's talking about trying to say that, he doesn't belong in the conversation of high ideas. I saw that he actually said that, Sam Seder isn't a thoughtful person with like real opinions or anything like that. When anybody who watches Sam Seder knows that he's like one of the biggest policy wonks in the political game period, or the online political game. He's one of the biggest policy wonks of all, if not the biggest policy wonk. Definitely. So it's very bizarre that he would say this, let alone the fact that it's coming from Tim Pool, the guy who uses random sources that reinforce whatever bullshit his fans wants to hear so that he can make more money. That's literally what he did. This is the same guy that said that Trump would win 50 states. He and his comment section were dead ass convinced Donald Trump was going to win in a landslide against Joe Biden, when there was no evidence for that except for an article or two of random polls that were very clearly biased, and that was even the explanation that they gave themselves. So you got to remember, this is coming from a grifter who just lies out of his ass for money, has no journalistic ethics whatsoever, is a complete clown, is a total moron. He just panders to his insane asylum Trump audience. That's all he does. And he's here saying the most inaccurate stuff about Sam Seder. It's just absolutely laughable. Sam Seder doesn't have any real beliefs or any thoughtful ideas. That's why you shouldn't debate him. Like, no, that's literally the absolute opposite. And it seems to be that the reason why the conservatives don't want to debate him, I guess because he has the thoughtful ideas, because they're running shitless, right? If he doesn't have thoughtful ideas, kick his ass in a debate. Why do you have to run? Why do you have to shit your pants with the full-on panic attack and run away? Why not just engage in an exchange of ideas and pummel his ideas with your greater ideas, why wouldn't you just do that? Oh, it's obvious, because that doesn't make any sense. What Tim Pool is saying doesn't actually make sense. And the other thing I want to say as well is, he keeps trying to call him a political drama grifter and wanting to do these debates for audience and stuff like that. You have to remember the backdrop of this. Really, ever since 2014, 2015, the conservatives have trotted out their debate bros, Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro. All these people are supposed to be the debate me guys. These are the debate me bros. And so they set up this whole environment, and then Sam Seder and other leftists come in and are like, yo, we're ready to debate. And, conservatives lost a couple, and then they ran away, essentially, is what happened. So clearly, they're essentially working in the framework that was created by right-wingers, that was a facade that was put up by them to attempt to make their ideas look much stronger than they really were in reality. That's what was clear. Of course, Tim Pool doesn't cover any high-level issues at all. He covers like random like Daily Mail articles with a bunch of bullshit in it about buzzwords about AOC or the left or whatever. Left is turning socialist. Just random buzzwords that he talks about, or bullshit poll numbers from fake pollsters, bogus pollsters. Sam Seder, again, is the biggest policy wonk in the online political game, so it makes it absolutely hilarious to see. He said that Sam is blacklisted by a lot of podcast networks. That probably is true. A lot of people seem to have dodged Sam Seder because I guess they don't want to debate him. I don't know if the exchange of ideas is just going to be, too tough for them. I'm not really sure. The people, I saw Eric Weinstein talk about it. I couldn't really understand what they were trying to say. I don't know. It kind of seemed to be like he liked smelling the smell of his own farts a lot, and he was trying to sound really smart and stuff. It was bizarre, very, very bizarre. But what you can see is Tim Pool is banning Sam Seder from his show. And what's interesting, you saw him going off, like absolutely losing it on him for the whole situation where Tim Pool was absolutely insisting that he go to his indoor studio during coronavirus, and so Sam said, I'm not going to go because of coronavirus issues. Makes a lot of sense. You're in a room there together. But first of all, the fundamental question is, why the fuck do you need to be in a studio to have this debate? Not only that, they already had a debate, and it was on Skype or whatever program. It was over the internet. This is 2021. You don't have to be in a studio to do a debate anymore. There's something called Skype. There was even Zoom at the time that was very popular. It's called the internet. Even like a telephone could work. There's a lot of things you could use. And so I don't know what the fuck is mentally wrong with Tim Pool where he's so dumb. I don't know if the beanie has literally eviscerated all of his brain cells, but it's 2021, dumbass. There's something called the internet, Zoom, Skype, telephones. You know how to use that shit. You already did. So I don't understand. This guy's meltdown was even more insane than Steven Crowder's. I mean, these people, I don't know what's wrong with Tim Pool. He went absolutely off the rails when it came towards September and October and November and post that, where he was just totally unethical videos on articles that were completely sourceless and total bogus, so obviously bogus. And he would just lie about them, and he would promote those shady sources and say stuff like Trump was going to win 50 states. Trump was going to win in a landslide. The only person crazier than him is his audience, and that's probably why he acts that way. It's because he's getting like millions of dollars. Look at the views on his channel. His channel is the loony bin, essentially. It's literally what it is, Arkham Asylum level type stuff. So anyways, Tim Pool's a total idiot, total moron, total loser, total dumbass. You could see his meltdown is somehow above Steven Crowder's. I didn't even think that was possible.